They were 10 in all, scientists, soldiers, and one ghost of an ancient intelligence. The projection shimmered softly from a compact emitter the team called Winterlight. It took the shape of a woman made of fractured holograms, her voice quiet as snow. Their destination was the moon. Not for conquest this time, for remembrance. The coordinates Winterlight carried pointed to the Sea of Tranquility, where an artifact, the second shard, had slept for 10 millennia beneath lunar dust. A fallback cache, sealed when humanity still ruled the stars. A place only human DNA could unlock. The launch was silent. Their vessel, Aurora Sentinel, was a retrofitted exploration craft, escorted by 2 ancient warships, Silent Wake and Echo's Wrath. Sleek, obsidian, and patient, they orbited Earth like predators, awaiting a signal. As the moon drew near, Lyra Alshay, scientist, linguist, and last descendant of the original starfarers, felt the shard in her pack begin to hum. It vibrated, as if whispering a name. When the landing thrusters went quiet, the dust barely had time to fall before Winterlight spoke. Coordinates confirmed. The entrance is not physical. Lyra walked toward an unremarkable patch of rock and whispered a phrase in a language older than sound itself, taught to her by the ship's archives. The ground shivered. Then it opened. Beneath them lay a chamber carved of black glass, glowing from within, shaped like a heart. And in its center, floating weightless, was the second shard. When Lyra touched it, her world broke apart. Visions tore through her mind, her ancestors building the first starships, forging AI minds that could dream, debating whether to leave Earth behind forever. Then came the betrayal. Species kneeling in alliance by day and plotting in darkness by night. Not because humanity had sinned, but because it had grown too fast. They feared them. They feared what they could become. When she awoke, Elias, the team's strategist, was shouting, "Transmission, Valeri fleet in orbit. They've crossed into Earth's airspace." Winterlight's voice cut through the noise. Earth is under attack. But Earth didn't flinch. The ancient warships stirred from their silent orbit, like gods waking from sleep. They didn't retaliate. They erased. Singularities bloomed in the upper thermosphere, swallowing the Valeri cruisers whole. The Echo's Wrath carved through their fleet like a blade of white fire precision, not slaughter. They spared escape pods. It wasn't vengeance. It was a message. Afterward, in the quiet hum of the Aurora Sentinel, Lyra stood beside Winterlight's projection. 2 shards now glowed at her side. 2 remain, the AI said. 1 in orbit, 1 on Concord Prime. Elias cursed under his breath. The Concord government must have taken it. Insurance. General Voss's expression hardened. And they'll justify any atrocity to keep it. Lyra nodded slowly. Then we take it back. All of it. For the first time in 100,000 years, humanity prepared to leave home not as wanderers or beggars, but as heirs. 12 warships moved in silence through the void. They did not gleam, they absorbed starlight, vanishing into the black as they left Earth's gravity behind. Lyra stood on the command deck of Echo's Wrath, watching the stars stretch across the glass. Behind her, orders flew General Voss commanding formations, Elias opening diplomatic channels that no one would answer. "Trajectory locked," said Winterlight. "Destination Concord Prime." Elias approached her quietly. "We have no declaration of war." "They declared it," Lyra replied, "the day they erased us." He gave a small, broken smile. "Then, let's remind them we remember. Concord Prime was not what the records promised. Once a paradise of crystal spires and floating mountains, it now bristled with orbital guns and fortress satellites. As the human fleet exited folded space, 1,000 scanners locked on. Concord Prime was ready at least. They believed they were. "Incoming hail," Winterlight reported. Chancellor Varon of the Concord Assembly. The hologram flickered to life. Varon's thin face twisted in hatred. "You will not bring your weapons into our system. Turn back or be annihilated." Elias kept his voice calm. "You tried to erase Earth." "That was annihilation. Preemptive strike," Varon snapped. "To prevent escalation," General Voss barked from the background. "You detonated a black sun core over our cities," Varon sneered. "You are relics. Dangerous. The galaxy has no room for tyrants reborn." Lyra stepped forward, eyes cold. "Then give us what you stole, and we'll leave." He hesitated. His silence betrayed him. "I will walk into your palace," she said evenly, "and take what belongs to us. You can resist and lose everything, or live to see us rise. You dare, I offer mercy," she interrupted. The feed cut. "Orbital defenses charging," said Winterlight. Lyra turned. Shields to full. "Prepare demonstration." Outside, Aurora Sentinel pivoted its massive cannon not toward ships, but toward a single orbital platform. The shot that followed made no sound. A wave of blue light expanded outward. Then, silence. The station wasn't destroyed, it was simply gone. Winterlight broadcast one message across the system. You cannot erase what remembers. You cannot silence what returns. On Conquered Prime, panic spread like wildfire, and for the first time, shame crept into their leaders' eyes. They had tried to bury humanity beneath time and fear. They had failed. The vault lay hidden beneath the old citadel, guarded by adaptive shields layered 12 deep. The last shard pulsed within, crimson and alive. Lyra descended with a small strike team, her armor woven with ancient nanofiber, a living relic gifted by Aurora Sentinel. As she entered the citadel's core, her breath caught the walls were carved with human symbols, schematics of the first warships, sigils of long-dead heroes. They had built their empire atop humanity's bones. The vault opened for her without resistance. Inside floated the third shard. When she touched it, the universe unfolded. It was not just power she felt, it was purpose. Coordinates filled her mind, diagrams and voices of ancestors long gone. The shards were not mere memory, they were keys, and their destination was Mars. In orbit, Lyra placed the 3 shards upon a pedestal. They pulsed together, harmonizing with something beneath Mars's crust. Final sequence unlocked. Winterlight said softly, "Project Epoch is ready." "Legacy project," murmured Elias. "What does that mean?" Lyra's eyes shimmered faintly, touched by alien light. "It means humanity left behind a forge, a world engine that can rebuild not just planets, but futures." Mars trembled. From orbit, the ancient volcanoes lit up with glowing lines, glyphs, written in forgotten human tongues. The Aurora Sentinel scanned the surface. "Something's waking up," Voss said. Then the crust split. A structure rose from beneath the red sands, obsidian and steel intertwined, as if grown, not built. A monolith vast enough to cast shadows into space itself. "The Forge," whispered Winterlight, "the heart of civilization." Lyra's team descended. Radiation spiked, but it did not burn. The dust parted around their boots like mist, avoiding a flame. Within the Forge, there were no corridors, no walls, only memory. They walked through history itself, holograms suspended in air, humanity birthing stars, shaping galaxies, building AI minds that dreamed of art. Then came the fall, the betrayal, the silence, the collapse. Project Epoch wasn't a weapon, Lyra said softly. It was a seed. At the center of the Forge, the final shard waited white, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. When she took it, the other 3 flared and merged into a single cube of living light. "You are now keeper of the Epoch key," Winterlight intoned. Lyra rose slowly above the floor as light wrapped around her, entering her veins. When she landed, her eyes were calm. "They didn't build this to dominate," she said. "They built it to redeem us." Elias stepped closer. "Then, what do we do now?" She smiled faintly. "We begin again." Humanity's fleet did not fire another shot. Instead, they transmitted an open message across every known system. "We do not seek revenge. We seek remembrance. Those who wish to learn, come." Some worlds responded with silence, others curiosity, a few hope. Weeks later, the first envoy arrived, an insectoid race called the Rixari, who had never joined the betrayal. Their leader bowed before the Forge. "We feared what you were," he said, "but we fear more what we've become without you." Lyra extended her hand. "Then let's build something better," the Forge answered. Its mechanisms awoke not to create weapons, but homes, terraformers, habitats, relays of light. Humanity was not here to conquer. They were here to heal. Because the greatest weapon they ever wielded wasn't war, it was story. Months passed. The galaxy changed. Broadcasts from the Forge reached every corner of known space. Footage of human ships saving Rixari colonies, cleansing poisoned worlds, rebuilding what others destroyed. The Conquered's propaganda collapsed. The word human no longer meant fear. It meant hope. One day, a Valari orphan was adopted into the Mars Accord. That single act changed everything. The warships that once burned worlds now stood silent in orbit. Guardians instead of executioners. Symbols, not threats. And deep within the Forge, Lyra stood before for the final construct, a seed ship designed to carry humanity's story to distant stars, not to rule, but to connect. She would not fly it herself. That would be the next generation's task. Are they ready? She asked. Winterlight's hologram flickered gently. Not all, but enough. Will we fall again? That depends, said the AI, on what you teach them to remember. Lyra looked out across the red plains. Mars was no longer silent. It pulsed with life, real, artificial, and everything in between. Across the stars, children of 1,000 species would grow up hearing the same story. Once, the humans vanished, and we thought we were safe. But now they've returned, and we are safe because of them. In the end, humanity's greatest legacy wasn't its ships, its AI, or its shards. It was the courage to rise from betrayal and choose compassion instead. The Forge of Mars shone like a second sun, and the stars listened, because the story of humankind was finally being told again.